I'm here at the Montauk Art Show on the Green in New York, and I'm going to tell you exactly why I love this show more than any other show that I do all year long. I'm here in Montauk, New York at the east end of Long Island for the art show on the Green this weekend, and there's no doubt that this is my favorite art show of the entire year. And I'm extra lucky because it happens twice a year, once in June and then again in August. It's certainly not the biggest art show that I do. In fact, it's probably one of the smallest, and it's not the most prestigious either, but I love this show for so many reasons. First of all, it was the very first art festival that I did back what had to be like 16 years ago now. And it really set me on a trajectory in my life that has brought me so many wonderful opportunities. I also grew up right here on Long Island and have been coming out to Montauk since I was a little baby, and I've always loved coming back here. But this show really is a world apart from some of the big nationally recognized art shows like the one I did recently in Fort Worth, Texas that you may have seen in one of my previous videos. And in a lot of ways, even though a show like this doesn't draw the crowds or prestige that a show like the Main Street Fort Worth Arts Festival does, a show like this can be just as good, if not exponentially better, especially when starting out your career as an art festival artist. I know a lot of people who watch these videos are new to doing art festivals and looking to get started, and one of the best pieces of advice that I seem to constantly give out is to pretty much forget about doing the huge national shows when you're just starting out. They're much harder to get into, they require a much bigger financial commitment, and even if your artwork is really outstanding, you may not have the sales skills needed to really make a show like that a huge success for you. Start doing small local shows in your immediate area. Doing your local art festival keeps your expenses down, and it gives you the opportunity to learn what works and doesn't work when you're going to do a show. Taking on a big national show like that is a major commitment at the beginning of your career. For example, my booth space at Main Street Fort Worth Arts Festival cost me over $1,100, whereas an equivalent space at this show costs under $400. I had to spend a week in a hotel for Fort Worth, and that was another $1,000+. Plus the gas to get there and get back home was just over $350. So that's an expense of over $2,500 before even day one of the art show. Taking material costs into account, I needed to sell like over $5,000 worth of art at an expensive show like that before I could even make $1 of profit. But at an inexpensive local art show like this, I can easily be making profit after just 1 or 2 sales. Now, of course, I understand that there are other factors that go into making a show successful, and just because a show is local to you doesn't mean that it's going to be good for your work or have the right demographics for your art. But chances are there probably is a show somewhere around where you live that you can at least get some practice with before you go and do a much bigger show that you have to travel for. Just because my expenses are much lower, it's a lot easier to make a bigger profit. And that's just another reason why I continue to return here to the Montauk Art Show on the Green. I've also built up a huge mailing list in the area from doing shows here for so long, and I've constantly had great shows here thanks in part to that as well, which is another great point that if you don't have an email list, you're really leaving a lot of money on the table. I use an email service called Brevo, which you may have heard me talk about in another video. It used to be called Sendinblue, but they've changed their name to Brevo. It's the same service. It's also still free. It's a really great email list service that allows you to have an email list with an unlimited amount of emails when you sign up using the link that I'm going to put in the description of this video. So go register for a free account there because you really have nothing to lose and everything to gain by sending emails to your customers. Now, of course, there are benefits to doing big national shows as well. They typically draw bigger crowds and people go there knowing that they're going to spend money on quality artwork. Plus, traveling for art shows allows you to build a market for your artwork in other areas. But you shouldn't necessarily write off a little craft show or even your local farmer's market as a possible profitable venue for your artwork, especially when you're just getting started. You can learn so much at smaller shows like this, and it will really come in handy later when you're ready to do really big shows. It's better to make mistakes when there's less financial risk too. Because I promise you, as good as you may think you are at selling your artwork, if you're new to it, you probably suck at it and you still have a lot to learn. I'm still constantly learning even after doing this for so many years. And speaking of learning, I put together a list of my top 5 free resources for artists that will help you learn and sell more art in this video that you should go watch right now. Morning. Yeah, this is my tripod, my one-man show.
Unbelievable.
Really low tech
Very
over
technical,
here.
Yeah.